Welcome into a For What It's Worth, a quick take episode 9. I am your host, Calvin Silvers. And the last time I did a quick take episode, it was over the New York Jets. And as you probably saw from the title before you clicked this episode, I will again be talking about the New York Jets here in this quick take episode because they made a big move on Tuesday, acquiring Aaron Rodgers' former teammate, Davante Adams. That's right. They got Davante Adams to come on over from the Las Vegas Raiders. He is now reunited with his buddy, Aaron Rodgers. Now, this all started after Monday night's loss to the Buffalo Bills, where Aaron Rodgers called out his receiver, Mike Williams, and told him that the little things matter after Rodgers threw an interception before the 2-minute warning there at the end of the game. Now, I don't agree that Rodgers should have called Williams out publicly like that. That is a conversation you have one-on-one in the locker room or, during a practice or a meeting. You don't do that out to the media. You don't do that where everyone can find the sound bite. Just not professional. He probably did it because he might believe that Mike Williams won't be on the team much longer. Maybe the Chiefs can go get him. I don't know. We'll see. They need some help there. But anyways, to do that publicly was wrong. I'm getting off on a tangent here. I'm just saying that's where this whole debacle started. It obviously he wanted Adams earlier, but the fact is this was the last straw for not only Aaron Rodgers, but the Jets. This just shows their desperation. You fire a head coach, you change your OC, you demote Nathaniel Hackett, let's call it as it is. You demote him, you get a new play caller in, you bring in Davante Adams. They're full on, we have to win this season. There is no, well, maybe in 2 years. Nope. It's now. And maybe next year, maybe Davante Adams coming over might keep Rodgers around another year or two, probably another year. We'll see how that plays out. But this just shows that the Jets are full on desperation. It's full on, we got to win the Super Bowl now. Now, going back to the Mike Williams situation, while wrong to call him out publicly, like I said, he's not wrong in what he said, and the little things do matter. He's 40 years old. He's coming off an Achilles injury. The dude can't move. When it comes to him requiring to move around a lot in the pocket, and his own line has some things to figure out, especially the left tackle, besides the point, he's just not efficient. The little things have to be perfect now. He can't move too much. He knows exactly where he needs to get it to. You have to be spot on, and that's something Davante Adams will bring. He knows what Rodgers likes. He played with him. They're former teammates. He knows the timing of routes. And not only will Adams know that, but he can show that to the other receivers in the room, get everyone on the same page, hopefully quickly. Something that probably could have been addressed during the mandatory minicamps if Rodgers didn't skip. But then again, now's your chance to kind of get everyone on page with Adams. You already have Allen Lazard, who does know how Rodgers operates. So you get two of his former teammates. You now have Lazard as a slot. You now have Davante as your outside receiver. Wilson a slot. You have a nice little receiving core there. Those are just the big three. Then you got Breece Hall in the back. You're fine. But of course, as I mentioned, your offensive line is still an issue. But now there is absolutely no blame to be put anywhere. You're, like I said, I guess you can maybe go the offensive line, but you changed offensive play caller. You paid Aaron Rodgers $75 million guaranteed. You want him to come in and get you the close wins. He's the guy that was supposed to come in and do that, get you to the Super Bowl. You're paying him $75 million. New play caller. $75 million quarterback. You bring in his buddy, Davante Adams. You have Lazard. You have Breece Hall. There's just no excuses now. Get it done. Two were the most dominant QB wide receiver duo when they were both at the Packers. And it came at a time when Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs. And that was his favorite guy in Davante Adams. So there's some good history there between those two in that regard. Now, for just looking at total, he has 622 catches for 7,590 yards and 69 touchdowns in 108 games with Aaron Rodgers. Pretty impressive stuff. Now, of course, this isn't old vintage Rodgers. We know that. But if Davante can even ignite some of that fire out of Rodgers or bring back some of that magic, The Jets could be back in good hands. Their defense is good. Kind of shaky sometimes, but that's a good defense. This offense cannot be blamed for anything anymore. I get it. I've been repeating it all night that the offensive line's not good. But look at all the weapons. Rodgers, just get the ball out. He never used to hold the ball in his hand, and it seems like this year he's holding it just a tad longer than usual. Get it out. Now, the nice thing for Rodgers is does take off some pressure off of him. He doesn't have to force feed Garrett Wilson anymore. The Jets were really trying to establish that relationship. Now, I have Garrett Wilson on my fantasy, so I'm a little sad in that regard, just from the fact that you're going to see his targets, receptions go down maybe quite a bit. We'll see. But you still can't leave him alone by any means. You still can't ignore him. You have to always have him on your radar. But back to Rodgers, that takes the pressure off. I mean, him and Wilson had 67 targets, which is the most right now. So we have Rodgers trying to force it to Wilson. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This will take it off. He can now spread the ball out a little more. He'll have a few more options or more trust there in his options to make plays. So that's good for him. I think we'll see him kind of maybe settle down just a little bit. So let's go back to Adams real quickly. From 2020 to 2022, he was second in NFL in receiving yards with 4,443. He was tied first in receptions with 338, and he was first in receiving touchdowns with 43. This is a top-tier receiver in the NFL. You saw what he was working with there in Vegas. Obviously, he's not going to be talked about as much or be as productive. But bring it in with someone he has chemistry with. Bring him in with someone he knows. Bring him in with someone that can give him the ball and exactly knows how to give him the ball. This could be very dangerous. Well, that's all I have. Just wanted to share my quick thoughts very quickly. I do think that this is ultimately a good move for the New York Jets because realistically, they can win, or they should win, 8 of their remaining games. This is a playoff team. If everything stays healthy, Rodgers, all the receivers, all that, this is a team that can get a win, maybe 2. But once you come to Mahomes, whenever that may be, that's tough. But there's a spark again for the New York Jets. Now I know the Bills got you, and that hurts divisional wise, but it's a long season. Although they just got a receiver as well that has had plenty of seasons over 1,000 yards to maybe replace Stephon Diggs and then help that young receiver Rube. So again, it's a battle there in the AFC East. And at this point, everything matters. The Jets know that. This is why they're making these moves. It's Super Bowl or bust at this point. That is it for this quick take episode. Once again, just want to share my thoughts on this recent development with the New York Jets, with Davante Adams, with Aaron Rodgers. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Spotify, please give us 5 stars and like. We really appreciate it. You can also follow us on X, Instagram, or TikTok. Just type in For What It's Worth Podcast. Until next time, I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. Have a good one.